night. The tarantula rattling at the lily's foot across the feet of the dead, laid in white sand near the coral beach, or zigzag fiddler crabs, side stilting from the path, first print, in parentheses, that shift, subvert, and anagrammatize your name, in parentheses. No, nothing here below the palsy that one eucalyptus lifts and wrinkled shadows mourns. And yet suppose I count these nacreous frames of tropic death, brutal necklaces of shells around each grave, squared off so carefully. Then to the white sand I may speak a name, fertile albeit a stranger tongue. Tree names, flower names, deliberate gainsay death's brittle crypt. Meanwhile the wind that knots itself in one great death coils on and withdraws. So syllables want breath. But where is the captain of this doubloon isle without a turnstile? Who but catchword crabs patrols the dry groins of the underbrush? What man or what is commissioner of mildew through the ambushed senses? His care of mathematics wave the eye's baked lenses. Under the poinciana of a noon or afternoon, let fiery blossoms clot the light. Render my ghost sieved upward, white and black along the air, until it meets the blue comedian's host. Let not the pilgrim see himself again, for slow evisceration bound like those huge terrapin each day rake on the wharf, their brine-caked eyes, spiked overturned, such thunder in their strain, and clenched beats coughing for the surge again. Slag to the hurricane, I, cast within its flow, congealed by the afternoons here, satin and vacant. You have given me the shell, Satan, carbonic amulet, seer of the sun, exploded in the sea. Thank you very much.
I need the paperback.
You need the. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. Well, another round for Owen Dunkel. And Owen, I'll give you a piece of paper later to write down so that Dan can get who wrote that.
Okay, fine.
Okay. And so our next reader is going to be Rainbow. Everybody give it up for Rainbow.
This one's called In My Bones. Who am I? Little substance as the air, neither here nor there. And say 100 years from now, whoever's gonna care? Wrap me in a human body, then put me in the world. I'll either be a boy or else I'll be a girl. Fill my head with lots of notions about the living and the dead. Hope I die in a wisdom pool, never play the fool. Life moves me in my body car. I play it just like my old guitar. I feel more like energy bound to the sea. Neither am I good nor bad, not especially happy and never really sad. It's really all nothing, and yet I'm part of everything. For what it's worth, the body I'm presently occupied was molded from the earth, so I keep on my steady course. I hope I'm bound for the source. I know I'm pure soul. I can even hear it in my rock and roll. I feel the blood running through my veins like a rolling train of wind blowing through a hurricane. I knew it all along. This world is not my home. This world is not my home. Thank you.
Whoa. Give it up for Rainbow. Thank you. And the next reader is Buford Burton.
What?
Is it Bunton? Looks like an R. Looks like Burton. But that ain't right. Burton, yeah. Anyway.
Evident is the moment. Evident is the moment when one can no longer do something or other. Throw a baseball hard. Make love like a 28-year-old. Find silliness of one kind or another funny. What's not evident is why.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I'm off this week from my teaching job, and this is part of what I've been doing. This was called Hanging Out with UCSF Residents. Hanging out with UCSF residents. Their medical knowledge surpassing mine, or at least one would hope so. 5 residents, absorbed by laptops, sit inside the square circle of perhaps recently gained knowledge, comfortable, I'm guessing, before or behind, depending on how one looks at it, the central coffee bar, light fixtures hanging down like a problem inside one's lungs or intestines, or both maybe. A middle-aged guy who seems worried about his hairline and wears what used to be and may still be a business person's hat, talks emphatically with hands all the way across the library where I can't hear him. It is practically silent except at the coffee bar as people who probably already don't sleep enough because of their long shifts gear up with caffeine and try to save people's lives with vast knowledge and a latte or 3.
A latte.
Or 3.
A lot of latte.
Give it up for Buford. Jane. We're lucky to have her in the house. Yeah.
I have 2 poems, both very recent. The War on the Roses. The roses are falling as my heart rises and falls, breathing in this new society, a rebirth of chaos not seen for years. The rose petals fall, scattering in all directions, new paths to follow, too many directions. I smell the rot of roses on the ground. And how will it look a year from now? The next thing we know, they'll be saying the earth is really flat. It's all just news, isn't it? And I just wrote this, Death and Taxes. I was pretty certain of one, now I'm certain of the other. It has struck with such force. I know whence it came and the reason. It strikes everyone on earth. No one is spared. Is it okay to go? Have I done my work? All was taxed. All things considered, the dialogue has been meager, the wage not enough. Always wanting, death comes and the taxes are waiting. Or is it the other way around? No matter. Both final. No argument from me. Acceptance. At one with both, there are 3 of us here, bound together forever. Walking towards the river Styx, ending up dead and in debt. Or is it the other way around? Thank you.
Thank you. And the keynote is able to come back later to read their own stuff. And so that's why you'll see Owen Dunkel coming up now.
Okay, thank you. Here are some, I've been asked whether or not I've written any new things, and here are some new things. The day is quiet, no breeze stirs, it is cold and chill. I feel ill and a bit out of sorts. People walk by like fish in an aquarium. The day is biting and cold. Some people have to talk. At Bird and Beckett, Eric's cat peers down, takes a cautious leap around, then hunches his forepaws and hind legs and jumps to the ground. Trieste, the night day after the rain, the wind is freezing and barely stirs. Two people saunter into the night. The last poem I wrote was a month ago, The Ghost of a Sonnet. The Prince of Peace's last gasp poem. This poem is a little choo-choo, the song of the trump-back whale, mellow to the White House horse, Trieste conversation at any price. This is a poem written to the beating of my heart in the hope that it will keep up with the dull beatings and bleedings of time and eternity. Dress greens. You look sharp in your uniform, son, my dad said to me, and I thought it the second most wonderful thing a man with a voice ever said. Poema. It is a chilly and sunny Tuesday. This is a short poem meant for a diary, or hang it all, Mark Alvarez. I am writing a poem, or trying for an effort in versification. This is my poem to Don Brennan, to the late Don Brennan. For Don Brennan, your metaphors are a lonely outpost that I pray to in silence, like the loneliness of love. I am the alone quality of your poetry, as your metaphors are those of the earth. Sunday Opus. Rimbaud am I, Rimbaud am I. I take care of verses and ignore Baudelaire and his bald serpents. She rode a horse made of foxes and bad grapes. Poem worth 2 cents. Tiny serpents take care of Rimbaud. Cafe Sonnet. Fish. Along the dotted line, the Rimbaud admired the folly and verse. Silenced the silly, a giggling hustler looked at his stopwatch and pondered. Brooding afar, laugh along dotted lines. Hurrah from heaven, the castle, the knights gallop the drawbridge. I am fearful at the volta, puncture the picture. Fish and be jolly, the trolley lumbers along the window. Wish the trash could talk. I am gossipy and begging the air for 14 lines. Martyred men say less mean more. Proem. On a summer's day I sit there hoping to meet a fast, fat, White pearl that thinks talking to clouds too loud and lordly, to know what a petite girl that keeps a drowsy emperor awake and on the make, talking too fast to use reason. Poem. A motorcycle is out of gas, roaring by me to climb trees, bursting to awaken me to a gray summer staring skyward at cannibals that make love to night lilies. Noon. In the street searching for stray metaphors, I have heard the cock crow many times before Ulysses burned the plow. 20 lines. 1. Noon dew, fairy blossoms, sad castle and Lilliput. 2. Moon that lingers, sigh of the one, waver of the heart. 3. Quiet pondering makes the night blue instead of black. 4. Ah, the noon, to weary the lips, dawn in rainy autumn. 5. Mild dawn, the cars, night rolls by, castles, bubbles, a fish tank.
Ding. Are you finished? Yeah, finished. 6. Ears made light, a song of lyre and love. Cats fret, bones talk. 7. Leaves roll softly, waves curl from your lips. Thank you very much. Oh. Give it up for Owen Dunkel. For those who came in after the program started, everybody's filled up in the first half, so after the feature, you guys can come up and sign up and get it all done together. Anyway, I just want to let you know the feature is in the house, and the mini is also in the house, so this is good. And the next person coming up is Andy Woodhouse. And he said it's been 15 years since he was last here, right? 15 years? So, welcome back. May have some stories to tell from back then.
Here's a few new poems. Yeah, first one.
Do you want to have that up a little higher? Hey.
The D was going to be the
Okay, so after the feature, after him, we'll have the guys.
Early March, and the weather is Alabamian as the tires of my Grand Velo bounce along Powell Street, down to North Point, down to Embarcadero, down to Howard. Maybe my patience is running thin, slimmer than the road tires, slimmer than my chances of understanding why I'm alone here, why I'm able to pedal when just about everyone is barely strong enough to do the drive, unload the kids and the groceries. Maybe they just don't have the guts.
Oh.
I don't remember spring coming so early, or how pleasant the winds between spring storms can be, mixing with the sun. I don't remember things learned while deep in meditation, like how open and sky-like we can be at our very core. I don't remember how generous nature can be when we live in harmony with it. I don't remember my own strength until I am severely stress tested. Only my shortcomings, the places where I snap. I don't remember how fortunate and blessed we are when we can let ourselves be flawed perfectly.
There it is.
One last poem. James McNamara would have loved this, or maybe he would have hated it. He passed away recently, yet another casualty of the drink. But he was enamored of the guitar playing of Django Reinhardt at least as much. I can almost hear him ranting over the guitarists, maybe slandering them for some perceived slight, and complimenting my own playing equally furiously. But James is gone now. He left us his epilogue, pinned to the banister in the cafe. So long, suckers.
Oh. All right. Andy Woodhouse, everyone. And a man we're trying to get eventually to come up here and be a feature at some point, and his wife, Mr. Philip Zimmerman. Yeah.
Maybe that's a little better.
Better for anybody? Louder? Louder?
Be a little louder.
Louder?
A bit louder.
Louder?
Yes, that's.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Can anybody hear anybody else?
So this is starts out as a parable, and then kind of takes a left turn somewhere in the middle of it. It's called Saracen. A sliver from the true cross slipped into his hand. Instead of working miracles, it festered there, turned gangrenous. Was this a slight of God or a sliver of indifference? On his deathbed, the hallucinations rose, iridescent wings of Morphos, and the Saracen beheld the face of God who had left him to his fate. It is a rare event to die of gangrene these days. Eric Pentagard suffered this extraordinary fate late in the 1990s, bringing discord and condemnation into the San Francisco VA. No one in these times, in this country, in this facility, should be dying of gangrene. This is criminal malpractice of the highest order. The visiting doctors were disgusted. Eric was black, gay, a fine artist, a biker, and a wonderfully funny guy. In 1990, he engineered the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead at the ambush on Easter Sunday here in San Francisco. Eric had severely broken his leg in a motorcycle accident at Market and Church. The leg would not heal, and when it began to fester, he refused to have it amputated. It took a long time. His leg swelled up with oozing sores. Stretched out in his room with all of his Terminator and Predator toys, the Starcraft carefully placed in a glass obelisk case taken from the bloody apartment of the gay neighbor murdered by his lover, the leg held court. The soundtrack to this drama was Metallica, Tool, and skinny puppy. The staging, demonic. Eric was a well-built guy, took shit from no one, and shared the same haircut as his white, skinhead lover who had died 5 years earlier from AIDS. The lover's family came out to San Francisco and threw Eric out of his own home as the relationship was not recognized under law. Under law. Under law. A term sounding stranger the more one repeats it. Love under law. Where is this love under law? Eric's suffering was magnificent, tragic, and profound. The leg stank with foul bandages that didn't get changed often enough. It shimmered green and grew to twice its size as Eric, the rest of him, shrank. His tiny head becoming ancient-like. At the terrible end of him, he looked just like a mummy of the beautiful Gandhi. He became a Mahatma in that last bed, wrapped in white, and still. Goodbye, my friend. I'm singing of you because you were beautiful and beyond brave. Perhaps foolishly so.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Yes. Well, for those who've been coming here for a long time, and there's a lot of people who've been coming here longer than I have, you're in for a treat because Stephanie Manning is next.
Hello, everybody. Oh, it's good. Oh, there's more people here. Yeah, it's good. From up here, it looks like more people. So I'm just going to read a few poems. I'm so happy to have, that we're having Dee Allen be the feature tonight. And if I have remembered, I never written poetry, but here's one by me. It goes, wait a minute. I'm addicted to watching a volcano in Mexico on a webcam right now, so that's the genesis of this. Mighty Popocatépetl, 17,000 feet high, active volcano, steams away day and night, does not sleep. Only the townsfolk, the dominant Catholic culture, roosters, dogs, birds. People sleep as the temperature drops up there on Popocatépetl, and it snows way up high. And as the sun rises, revealed is the white glory of nature, steaming atop the blue sky, while roosters crow and traffic resumes, and the bells in the steeple on gong on the hour. Life proceeds as if Popo was not looming over them, all angelic, yet powerful, tremulous, and prone to explosive bursts of fiery enthusiasm, reminding all of our tectonic home in a great Wagnerian display of nature. Calm life, abandon your logistic addictions, and never forget to look up. So check it out on Webcams de Mexico. Also, in this last week or so, great poet Derek Walcott died, who won the Nobel Prize in the 1990s. He's from the Caribbean, Santa Lucia, I guess you say. This is called Love After Love by Derek Walcott. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself, arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life.
Oh.
I saw what I was saying when I read the obituary, and that's the first that I had heard of him. Why didn't I learn about him before that? You know? And here's one more by him called Dark August. So much rain, so much life like the swollen sky of this black August. My sister, the sun, broods in her yellow room and won't come out. Everything goes to hell. The mountains fume like a kettle, rivers overrun. Still, she will not rise and turn off the rain. She is in her room fondling old things, my poems, turning her album. Even if thunder falls like a crash of plates from the sky, she does not come out. Don't you know I love you, but I am hopeless at fixing the rain? That I am slowly learning slowly to love the dark days, the steaming hills, the air with gossiping mosquitoes, and to sip the medicine of bitterness, so that when you emerge, my sister, parting the beads of the rain with your forehead of flowers and eyes of forgiveness, all will not be as it was, but it will be true. You see, they will not let me love as I want, because, my sister, then I would have learned to love black days like black ones, the black rain, the white hills, when once I loved only my happiness and you. There's this great book, if you like existentialism. It's well, that's what I call it. I don't know if you can call it that. It's in the bookstore. It's called Self-Portrait as Wikipedia Entry by Dean Rader.
Is it a short one?
Yeah, it's short. It's called Self-Portrait Bob, after Langston Hughes. If it hasn't killed you by now, just wait. This doesn't mean you can fly. In the quarter, in the shadows, the supermarket sea, a blue safari, a pot of collard greens, a field of flower seeds. These are things America never was. America, to me, is what it isn't, like a missing comma or the lost digit, a hat with no head. It is neither the water nor the wine, no axe, no hammer, no chain, no ribbon, no box, white sheets but no bed. Life never was life, but then again, America never was America. To me, to you, to the darkness, to him, to her, to the blackest. Oh, treble clef, oh, bass note, who is not both the music and the breath, both the letters and the page? Men might make a country, but what I wrote about America was never America to me.
Wow. Oh. Thank you, Stephanie Marion.
That was a good one.
Yes. And we're lucky again, because all of you are here. And this guy's name is Jack Melander. Great job.
Youth, from existential absurdity to sardonic surreality. The youngster is as much feeling as thought. Young persons are as much body as mind. Imagination as reason, art as science. These are the givens of the human life. Changing bents, penchants, and proclivities exercise these faculties and are inherent in someone's identity. It's not a blank slate, but a personhood. We are in large measure happy to the extent that life allows us to rise above wage slave subsistence and grow as individuals along the lines of these subjective gifts. A country cannot claim to be a democracy fostering the right to pursue happiness while it ignores so basic an aspect of people's nature. The man making such claims is a hypocrite. Callow youth may marvel at the existential absurdity of this situation. In high school, many, despite or because of the bully's intimidation, become enwrapped with some instructor's demonstrations of the ways of human striving. Such students grow to feel their own days are interesting and their opinions matter. How wonderful to be apprised of many modes of human effort, their histories and methods, and to play the game of quizzes and tests to find out who got it best, and how marvelous to be regarded with admiration by one's peers and receive praise from one's instructors. But even many predestined by nature and good grades in chemistry, math, and physics to go far in pursuits germane to present-day technologies must soon learn what little use the workaday world has for their abilities. And there are other gifted types, creative spirits who, despite parents' efforts to discourage them, persist in getting A's in English, music, art, while after a brief show of promise doing poorly in the business science pursuits mom and dad so favor. These students are most unfortunate, having to foresee their future as one of, after a few weeks OJT, performing for twice as many hours per day spent in school, boring chore tasks of unutterable ennui in industry totally unrelated to any work they love. However, their situation is not one of existential absurdity. The national hypocrisy is so great that for them the boredom is outweighed by anxiety, and we are seeing them approaching more of a sardonic surreality.
Hold on just a bit, can you?
Yeah.
So good.
The existential absurdity of living in a land purporting to believe it favors equality while nevertheless living in a country where opportunity to succeed is limited to males of certain classes or limited to certain races, where chances to win favor those affecting business more than science, science more than art, thought more than feeling, reason more than imagination. The existential absurdity of supposing their country is for the people while living in a land where the people's representatives cannot garner sufficient funds to launch a successful campaign without promising to dedicate, once elected, their efforts not to let split to a splinter group of rich supporters. This is a country for the monopolies. The existential absurdity of supposing their country is for the people when a country where the splinter group of an oligarchy controlling the people's government lifts the rule of law off the shoulders of the sellers, of whom the people are warned proverbially to beware. This is a nation for the monopolies. Existential absurdity of supposing their country is for the people, but it is a land of take-backs of wages and benefits, outsourcing of jobs, downsizing workforce, depriving throngs of workers of a job. Good for the monopolies. Existential absurdity of supposing their country is of the people, while living in a land of sold legislators, saying how little of the citizens' tax money will be spent on infrastructure, AFDC, education, hospitals, poverty programs, and how much on the military, the penal system, surveillance. Existential absurdity of supposing their country is by the people while living in a land of Trump, Tonk, and cups. Save this land, drilling Kuwaitis, yellow cake, wars are foisted off on the unwitting young by the people. The people would have to be devils. It is not by the people that sellers are deregulated, but by a corruption of the people's representatives. Young people actually face the sardonic reality of finding this land is unequal. The advantage of education and opportunity are not a part of citizenship, and by no means equally available to all, dependent on one's race to a splinter group of greedy monopolists. You find they're not free, but a surveilled populace doped up on video, incapable of assessing the magnitude of the crimes of the enforcers, directed to organize the concerted populist grassroots demonstrations necessary to make the people's will known despite the cooptation of representatives by business. Finding this is not a country where rights are cherished, but one where people's collective funds, privacy, and intellectual property rights are all subject to interdiction by of technocrats. Avaricious, vain lead counters who think they own their fellow man, who cannot afford to ascertain beforehand their industrial schemes' long-term adverse consequences, but are not willing to take responsibility for them once they become universally obvious.
There you go.
Thank you. Now I know why you read so fast. Now I know why you read so fast. Now I know why you read so fast.
Have you ever read Growing Up Absurd by Paul Goodman?
Yeah. Beautiful book, yeah.
That was in the 50s he wrote that.
Give it up to Jack. Now I know why Jack reads so fast. He's got a lot to say and he tries to get it all in. All right, well, we have somebody who might be performing, I might add, I don't know, at La Promenade, Mr. Louis Martin. It's also going to be featuring Buford Button and Owen Dunkel. I hear Stephen Carroll might be there, Louis, and probably others of note. Starts at 7 o'clock to 9:30. There is a open mic afterwards, and anyway, leaving out anything? Okay, and you can pick up a flyer here, and we're going to sign up after the break because that's where all the space is. All right, Louis.
Louis, come on up.
Step on up.
Let me say something about I'd like to say something about when somebody was okay after the break. Perfect. Thank you, brother.
All right.
I'm going to speak slowly and stretch my words out.
And the mouth. He does it really well with
And
the
then
mouth.
also
and the
that-
teeth.
Self-time myself here, so. We are starting. Ooh, 1 point something of a second.
Well, Louis, I'll trust
At least I
you.
know where to start.
I'll trust you.
We can check each other.
Well.
Let's see. I have been spent over 2 years in court now, fighting Google over the disappearance of coastnews.com in searches. And particularly they're after disappearing San Francisco and restaurant dining guide because that is extremely lucrative territory. They get $5 to $7 a click on unmarked but paid for ads from restaurants around San Francisco. And if we get in there, because we're top rated, we come in 1, 2, and 3 out of sometimes as much as 21 million relevant entries. We're way up top there. So that impacts their revenues. And I started a lawsuit over 2 years ago in small claims court and talked with the San Francisco Lawyers Referral Association. And I had a previous incident with small claims court over a locker at Public Storage where I had an top locker, and Public Storage lowered the height of the ladder so that I could not get to my stuff in the locker. Well, I filed one of these small claims things, thinking it was a piece of cake, shot photographic evidence, found out from a disgruntled Public Storage employer when they actually started this.
Excuse me, brother, got to keep it down with someone speaking.
Can I subtract that from? We're at 2 minutes now. Anyway, I was really surprised when you go into small claims court and they send you a notice of the result of the hearing there. I was in there with the Public Storage representative who admitted that that's exactly what they did, and they did it for the reason that I said, to discuss renting a locker that was twice as much and a little bit bigger down below. But anyway, I got such a negative experience from that. When I went to small claims court, I took the Bar Association's advice, and if it appeared that the judge was prejudiced against the case, to have it dismissed and move it over to Superior Court in San Francisco, which is what I did. So I filed a fairly major lawsuit for a large amount of money in Superior Court. Well, the thing ran from Superior Court from Small Claims Court, ran to Superior Court, to the First Courts of Appeal in California, to the California Supreme Court, and then I ran it clear on up to the U.S. Supreme Court. This was not easy, and it cost some money to do this. We're still in there, but the U.S. Supreme Court, as well as the California, I'm watching my time here, refused to review the case, as did the First Court of Appeal. I still have Google was hacking my computer while the proceedings were going on in Superior Court, and they didn't think I knew how to do this, but I ran Microsoft's NetStat reports, which shows who's attached to your computer at different times. I ran that 3 times a day, and it showed that Google on one day had 52 attachments from their servers to my computer, shutting me down. They did this for 3 straight months. I collected it 3 times a day, zipped up all of the NetStat files, and turned it over to the FBI, who basically said, "Get lost."
What a surprise.
basically get lost. We don't care. So anyway, I'm running out of time here. I'm going to just, I finally wrote a summary of the whole case. It's still with the DA's office in San Francisco because of the record. But the article here is popped to the top of corruption cases in the courts on the internet. It comes straight up to the very top. It's called Pervasive Corruption of the Court. If you search on that, you will find this in S. Lewis Martin versus Google Inc. And the subtitle is Big Ape Judges Take Their Cues from Pinocchio. I started off by, and I'm going to end up here real fast, I've got about 10 seconds left. But I started off in one of the filed documents in Superior Court quoting William Shakespeare just up front. I didn't quote him in court, but it was in the document. And Google suggested that they cite me for, what do they call it, contempt of court. Apparently the court and Judge Goldsmith didn't care to take on William Shakespeare. So the quote, the offending quote to Google was, "In the corrupted currents of this world, offences gilded hand may shove by justice, and oft 'tis seen the wicked prize itself buys out the law. But 'tis not so above." This is Act 3, Scene 3, Hamlet. And I've run over the time here. I'm just going to read the introductory line to the opening graph here. It's called Introduction, Judges as Liar Politicians.
Oh my God.
It made such a long introduction, I cut off the piece itself.
Well, let's give it up for Louie.
Don't forget about Saturday night, if you can come out to La Promenade. Diamond Dave wants to come up and say something about Under the Dome.
Okay, people, fellow human beings, it's good to be back here in Richard. I just happened to be on Heath Street. Somebody said that, good to see you, Dave, that I got a special phone here and I had to come. But I realized I also have to come because we're going to have the 12th annual Poems Under the what? Dome. And if you came be here next week to go to the hat, this is the 12th annual. Hey, brother. Hey, sister. 12th annual in City Hall. We'll be doing it again at the end of National Poetry Month, which is what month? April. Now, is April National Poetry Month because T.S. Eliot said April is the coolest month? Is that not the National Poetry Month? Does everybody know?
Oh, Shakespeare's birthday.
What?
Shakespeare's birthday.
Shakespeare's birthday. Did T.S. Eliot know it when he said April is the coolest month? I doubt it. But it's also National Poetry Month. And at the very end, the 27th, let me cut to the chase, I've been talking too long. The 27th of April, in City Hall, at 5:30, will be, I believe it's the 12th annual Poems Under the Dome. How many people here have been there? We have been there, come on through every year. It's a what? It came from a vision I had 13 years ago. I was standing in Elmo Park, looking down at the City Hall. They had new gold building, and I thought, hey, that's a great place for an open mic. It could be the mother of all open mics. And now it's the 12th annual. So come on through, and E.K. Keith, one of the people who helped make this happen, because I'm an old man, I'll make it happen. I think we'll be here next week or the week after. You can have your names in the hat, and whoever's name is pulled out of the hat will become a special representing, thanks to the spirits, whoever it happens to be, take the ground on that day. We would still be pulling the names on the hat on that day. So welcome. I hope you all can come. Poems Under the Dome. Where's the marks? Here we are. Thank you.
When I first introduced the group, I forgot one thing, and that was to turn on the camera. And then when I did turn on the camera, it wasn't focused right, so I probably made a lot of people seasick until I got it focused right. So apologies out there for everybody. Hope we didn't feel too sick. All right.
This is called a new one. There is a drum. When I hear the heartbeat, 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 I hear the drum of the indigenous heart. Heart sounds of the people from Turtle Island. Listen to the heart. It is the rhythm of life, humanity's beat. Listen to the Yoruba drummers, shakers. See who's left not dancing, shaking. Reach, stretch yourselves, feel the joy of mind, body in ecstasy. You know, the things the black robe people call sinning. That's what they're here for, with their dish of fear. Hatred of the other is a cold, cold dish, best served to non-believers who reject these fear-mongers and their destructive behaviors. Adios, bye-bye, haters of humanity. I listen to the heartbeat, heartbeat, heartbeat. Summer of Love, I did it in 2 parts, and this is the 3rd part, but it's really about the Fillmore. Spring of Love, long live the Fillmore. As the war goes on, civil rights continue to be fought for as cities continue to burn. Meanwhile, I go to the Fillmore just before the city in wars on humanity murders this neighborhood of life, culture. Great record stores playing Ahmad Jamal, Miles Davis, Dexter Gordon, Diana Washington, Nina Simone. Great jazz, blues clubs up and down Lower Haight when Fillmore was one street. Great community of old Edwardians and Victorian houses. Going to the finer clubs, black men dressed to the nines, looking fine, looking better than anyone could in a suit. Black women dressed as though they're models at fashion shows in some of the finest hats of the time. Musical in their steps, color, beautiful color. Then there are the clubs where it didn't matter what you wear, all came for the same reasons, to cut loose of their sorrows, setbacks, heartache, celebrating, rejoicing with men, women, and the blues. Then there are those who don the dashiki. There's a new revolutionary feel, poetry and revolution set to music. Do not forget the people of the Fillmore and their culture that helped them survive before the great destruction. Remember their joys and struggle, and remember where USA's music heritage lie. What a lucky white man I am. It was a time before the great destruction and my great depression of the body and mind. And the wars continue on humanity. Before I forget, there's an anonymous person, and I'm not saying whether he, she is in this room, has generously offered everyone at break to have a drink. It can be alcoholic or a dessert. So,
Wow.
I like that person. Well, anyway, I didn't want to forget that because sometimes I do forget these things. So get them with you. All right, the next person is Bob, and he's been doing these great stories in his novel, but we're not going to hear that. We're going to hear something else. So we're in for a treat, I'm sure. Come on up.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I'm writing a book, The Ballad of Nobody. Buddy Nobody? The Ballad of Buddy Nobody. So like a novel. So I was hoping to have something new tonight, and I don't. So I'm just going to tell a story off the top of my head that will become a story later for this book. And it's it goes back about 40 years. So I was at an Italian restaurant across the park there talking to my ex-wife, and all this came up, so I started telling her the story. And I guess I was in my early 20s, so I was living in a horse trailer, and I met my first wife. She was living in a horse trailer too with another guy, but they had a one-horse trailer, and I had a two-horse trailer, so we ended up hooking up, and we went up to live in the country up around Oroville, which is very, very hot, like 110 every day, and I was doing field work, and my neighbors had a pig farm, Al and George was married to Kat, and they lived in a little pink trailer, and none of us had any electricity, so I'd go over with my wheelbarrow every day. And it was a walk down a dirt road with my tools, but it was a long walk. Sometimes I'd have to lay down in the wheelbarrow and go to sleep. And I'd get there, and it was very, very hot. All of the big pine trees and all the heat between the trees every day. And we had wild grapes growing up in the trees, but none of them ever bore any grapes. And so I get over there and help my friends, and we had about 45 pigs, and we'd go to all the restaurants with their pickup truck and get the pig slop, all the old vegetables that they're throwing out. And there's a whole other story coming off this that I won't be able to tell tonight. But so then we come back, and welder had cut a big tank open, and we'd start a fire under it and cook all the slop up with get the water boiling and with the firewood, and stir it with the ore and get all the wheat cooking. And then so we had about 8 55-gallon drums, and I had to hike down a trail and fill up the water buckets from a lake and come up, and we fill up all the water for the pigs. So George would be reading his newspaper there by the fire, and after a while, Cat would go, "George, that boy's going to have a heart attack." He'd go, "I know it, God damn it, Bob, get up here and smoke some marijuana." So they had a little patch behind their trailer. She'd roll me up these big joints, and so life went on like this. And I was talking about how much I love the pigs, because they're really neat animals. In fact, my friend had a trained pig named Wayne, and he could go, "Sit down, Wayne." The pig would sit down and go, "Load up," and he'd jump up in the pickup truck. And so I was talking to my ex-wife over here at the restaurant, and I'm getting all excited, and I'm going, "Man, I love pigs. They're so smart. I just, and she's looking more and more like looking at her plate and getting kind of nervous. Anyway, they called us for our pizza. And I stood up and turned around, and there was a whole booth full of police officers behind me. So it was an awkward moment. Why? No reason.
We're coming down.
Well, good, because I forgot the point of the story. But thank you very much.
Before I forget, Jack Melander is going to be the feature next week. So lest we forget him, we'll slow him down a little bit, because I told him the same thing. He sometimes goes too fast. But when I saw how much he wanted to read, now I know
Like a
why.
manifesto. The Communist Manifesto.
Bring in some shorter pieces, and then you can read slower. But he's a great poet, and I find myself having a moment of great happiness because I get to introduce the next person. This is my mentor, everyone. He's the one who got me out from my friends and said, "What's the matter with you? You need to be out there reading this stuff." I didn't take him seriously for a while. I slowly did write stuff. And then when I came out 2 years ago last December as a writer, it was really through Dee. And I think Dee's one of these people who, if he likes you, he's really going to be in your court. I've seen him really say many, many, many kind things about poets in the community. He is kind in spirit. And I will read you, because he asked me to read you the Bay Area Generations. And I did, and we both won. We were paired up. And so they gave us something to write, so this is what I wrote. In the heart, soul, intelligence of our greatest truth-tellers, D. Allen reflects in his writing pain, sadness, joy, humor. I am honored that he asked this elder to participate, for he may be the elder and I the younger. Like Miles Davis in music, Dee's delivery is like a boxer, worn, jabs, undercuts, dances, ducks, alive with his words. He is as he heed his clarion call. So it's my honor to bring you the trumpeter of poetry, D. Allen.
Waiting. It was the African who turned me on. It was the Aboriginal from Turtle Island that gave me my heart. It was the European that gave me my sorrow. It was the American that tried to keep me up. It was the Vietnamese that gave me my forgiveness. May I forgive myself? Come back to the hoop. The elders have been waiting. Crescent. We sought an answer to a southern summer moon, but found nothing more than a silver rip in the night sky's fabric, moving through a sliver of daylight, peeking through midnight, bounded around a perfectly curved bleach stain on a navy blue dress, cresting a white shadow, roundly reflected off a puddle of light, and surprising us like white teeth grinning against the dark skin of night.
All right. Oh.
Fishnets. Swimming fish are spared from human capture today. The fishnets have caught another living thing or two, encircled more tightly, wrapped around a nice pair of smooth-shaven lady legs, standing on the subway platform, awaiting the next train leaving West Oakland. Mexican, 20-something, slender female in a yellow dress and pumps across from me owned it proudly. Transparent, shadowy second skin. Those fishnets she's wearing reminds me so much of pinups from the 1950s, centered in the spotlight, showcasing her luscious form, and dark-webbed calves, burlesque redhead Tempest Storm, or Nashville brunette Dark Angel Betty Page, posing in a photographer's studio, knitted legs made to walk any stage. Those fishnets can catch moated schools of fish, They're good, I think, for trapping eyes of males, aroused, wanting, then pulling them in. Pine Ridge, for Richard Sanderell. Pine Ridge, one of 7 parceled lands after Washington, D.C., took away the Black Hills. Oglala, Lakota were told that this was home. Pine Ridge, outdoor dance floor. Lakota moved with their ancestors' spirit in a circle, hoping the white eyes would disappear. Pine Ridge, site of slaughter. The white eyes hadn't disappeared. In fact, they rushed in, murderous intent, with rifles. They laid 300 low in Wounded Knee snow. Pine Ridge, stage for armed resistance. AIM wanted puppet tribal corruption gone. For 71 days, with shotguns, they'd shown the settler state that red men won't disappear. Pine Ridge, Valley of Despair. Once proud people now live in crumbling homes, impoverished, jobless, isolated, awash in beer bought in white clay. Hopes disappear. Pine Ridge, studying historical trauma, kept in mind for when native resistance to genocide reappears. The last poem was called Pine Ridge, which comes out of number 41 souvenir chapbook for Bay Area generations.
And it's also the book that's on part of the raffle tonight. So you get whoever's. Yeah,
you get the poems of Richard Sanderell, myself, and a number of
other ones. There's some really good poets in this one, trust me, not just.
And now the reason I'm here tonight is to showcase 2 new books which feature my work. The first one being the new protest poetry anthology, Rise, published by Vagabond Books from Los Angeles. And I have 2 pieces in here. I'm going to start with the first one. On page 31, this is called How Many More? What savage times we live in, where cops strike us harder and protests are built around police violence martyrs. Since they single us out, in police cars they creep. What officers have sown, so shall they reap. Did you ever wonder why the amount of cop killing rises? A poor man with a gun, busts on lawman he despises. And then comes the wakes, and then comes the funerals. Has anyone in your hood shown up for police funerals? How many more must die before the message sinks in? How many more must be buried before you recognize their sins? The defender of your safety put Eric Garner in a chokehold. The tragic tales of Grant and Bell continue to be told. Tamir Jones never lived long enough to see 13. Anti-police slogans or killer cops, which one is more obscene? The ones you call for protection, the ones you think will serve, the ones you rely on to solve problems, leave most of us unnerved. The court of public opinion charges them with genocide. Your dear protectors are legal, psychos cut and dry. How many more must die before the message sinks in? How many more must be buried before you recognize their sins? That was called How Many More? And the next several poems I'm going to do are excerpts from the next new book I have. Stormwater, poems, 2012 to 2016. This is my 3rd book.
Is it out now?
Yeah, it's out now. It's actually been out since it came out just in time for Black History Month, so I'm happy about that. So now I'm going to give you, just to just to keep respect for the time limit I'm being given, I'm going to give the next several poems to you in excerpts. So now I'm about to give you an excerpt of Rebel X, also from Rise, for Bree Newsom. The Courage Award shouldn't go to an athlete, but to a woman who, with both hands, scaled up a courthouse flagpole and removed from the top the region's historic shame, emblem of oppression, keepsake of a lost cause, banner of racism, reminder of slavery. Her action indeed took courage in a state whose whiter populace would rather see its blacker half back in chains. General Lee's seal, stars and bars, the Southern Cross, the Rebel X.
Wow.
That was called Rebel X, which is also in Rise on pages 32 and 33 of that book. It also happens to be here in Stormwater as well. And speaking of which, I'm about to get a little personal for a moment.
All right.
Kind of slow things down a bit. I'm about to give you an excerpt of another poem in the book, one of my favorites to write and the most personal to me. It's about a favorite relative of mine, one who I'm glad is still with us, and a dude who was like one of my best role models. I'm thankful to have him as a family member. This is an excerpt from Poppy. His was the first real subcultural presence in my family tree. In the early 1970s, he was the hippie through and through. Tall, lanky, fair-skinned black flower child with the big sideburns and afro, faded Levi's and paisley shirt, sometimes a dashiki. Grandma Lily's youngest child, only boy. He always entered a room with a wooden acoustic guitar strapped on him. He used to sit on the front stoop and play country songs by John Denver, folk songs by Bob Dylan, Jim Croce, and Cat Stevens, Harry Chapin, Joan Baez, for me and my siblings and cousins. Nothing like the acid-seeking hippies. Nothing like the strutting Superfly, Shaft, Isaac Hayes, Huey Newton wannabes either. My Uncle Poppy, the only dude I knew who consumed 3 peanut butter and grape jelly sandwiches with a full mason jar of milk. First in my family, far as I know, to be outspoken against organized religion and for racial equality. Also our first known vegetarian.
Wow.
To this day, I believe I acquired such beliefs from him first.
Oh.
And that was an excerpt from Pop. And I know some of y'all in the audience might have heard that poem before in its entirety.
Still with us?
Yeah, Uncle Poppy is still alive. He's living in Philadelphia now, and I still write to him from time to time. At least a couple of times a month I would get a card and a handwritten letter from him. So even though email and tweeting and automatic instant messaging is where it's at for a lot of us, there is no substitute for the personal touch you get from a handwritten letter. And I still write those myself. And the next poem is dedicated to somebody who I wish was here tonight, because a lot of her poems have a lot to do with they're anti-genocide poems. They're also poems about nature, other places around the world, and she loves children. And she's also a very accomplished opera singer in her past. She toured all of Europe, just doing the old opera singing thing. She still lives in San Francisco and Telegraph Hill now, and I wish she was here tonight. This one is dedicated to Karen Melander Magoon. And this is an excerpt from this poem, next poem, called Bravery or Suicide. Warriors of the future do daily battle with mechanical beasts of the present. They get their training already in the battlefield, also known as the city block, the refugee camp, the occupied zone. They defend it from the mechanized intruder, rolling through their dusty street with its barrel stuck out, intent on killing, using the only weapons available, rocks. As fast as their small feet could carry them, the little combatant boys run close enough to the big sand-crawling monster to launch rocks on its thick iron hide as hard as they can. Many rocks, many dents, direct hits. Is this an act of bravery or is this suicide? The rules of field engagement are simple. Unite to fight or fall to foes. That was an excerpt of Bravery or Suicide. The next poem also happens to be the title poem of the book, located on page 43 and 44. The title poem for Stormwater. This is called Stormwater. Tropical storms have come and gone, passed over NOLA as quick as an eye's blink. Katrina, however, was different. When Katrina arrived from farther south, she did so in a goddamn rage. Up from the Caribbean, along the Gulf Coast, she barreled into Mississippi and Louisiana with sheer fury. Hit NOLA's shoreline right where it hurt, a protective barrier that kept Mississippi River and Lake Pontchartrain at bay. Powerful winds, incessant rain, rising waves won that day. Weakened, splintered wood floated away after when the levees broke. The bayou came to the Big Easy in one angry thrust of stormwater. The rich saw it coming. They evacuated first. The poor were forsaken, contended with the worst. Everything that stood, uprooted, submerged. Once the levees broke. Carried out on passing waves, the unfortunate dead. The survivors headed for higher, drier ground. Freeway overpasses, bridges, superdomes, schools, attics, rooftops must avoid the rising pool. The military, Red Cross, gave no aid, so cruel, after the levees broke. When the government was slow to help, citizens helped themselves. They braved the waters Katrina brought with her. Rescues by boat, desperate people in pursuit of food and drink, local stores they loot. Inner city armed madhouse, Blackwater poised to shoot after the levees broke. All the other lower wards got the worst of the destruction. And I'm about to do one more piece, which also comes from Stormwater.
Good to hear you, brother.
Thank you. And I dedicate tonight's entire set to Richard Sanderell and Greg Pond, who are your two hosts for the evening. For helping to keep this open mic together. We also have a couple of celebrities in the audience tonight. We have Common Thread Radio Collective host and longtime San Francisco legend, Diamond Dave Wood. And somebody I haven't seen in this place in a very long time. And this is the first time I've seen him here without his partner beside him, Mr. Edward Mikey. Coming all the way from the last piece happens to be about a local person who left this plane of reality under very tragic circumstances. And San Francisco supervisors voted to have a day in his honor, on his birthday, July 25th. So this is dedicated in memory of Mario Woods. This is called Portrayals. Jailbird, gangbanger, meth head predator, wanna be mob buster, knife swinging nutter, deserve to get surrounded by he-holding cops, deserve to get grounded with 21 shots, but these are portrayals they want you to know. These are portrayals they want to show, based on derogatory stereotypes, grist with a mill of tough for crime hype. Half the city went ballistic over cop murder sadistic, on paper with statistics, never get this twisted. Street thug image adds to the tension. The reformed ex-prisoner never gets mentioned. Not the spine sweetheart, not the mother's son, they concentrate on the menace. Beast without a gun, but these are portrayals they want you to know. These are portrayals they want to show, based on derogatory stereotypes, grist with a mill of tough for crime hype. He made no sudden moves, but they made him die. Police and papers unified to crucify a troubled youngster. Suckers had to play God. Racial death via interracial death squad. Suppose I got met up and lit up by the bill. Would the press call me a thug? Probably will. Folks swallow official stories get played. If you were gunned down tomorrow, how would you be portrayed? Portrayals in memory of Mario Woods. 1989. Hold up, I got the date wrong, folks.
Too many to remember.
For Mario Woods, I was right. 1989 to 2015. Rest in peace. Wow. I'm D. Allen, you're the crowd. Thanks for listening. Enjoy poetry.
All right. Ed, are you leaving? You can't get
I got a curfew tonight.
Right now.
I'll be coughing anyway. So.
Well, good to see you.
Good to see you. I came for D.
Well, that's good.
I didn't know I had Jane.
Oh yeah, one more thing. In case any of y'all like what you heard tonight, I happen to have copies of both Stormwater and Rise for sale. Y'all are interested.
They're gonna have
Don't read about that.
All right, we're going to take a 10-minute. And for those who haven't signed up, you can come up and take what spaces are available. Taylor, you don't have to because you're already signed in. And Trump Rabies doesn't have because he's signed in. So everybody else has to come up and sign in. So 10 minutes.
Sit upside down.
All right, so schmooze, everybody. Schmooze.
Oh, yes.